Free agency remains one of the league's biggest unanswered questions of the offseason. In a deep dive published on ESPN.com this morning, our Shams Charania and Anthony Slater break down how and why this Warriors contract standoff is still unresolved here in mid-September. And we're now joined by Shams. Shams, where does this situation stand right now between Kuminga and the Warriors?
George, the Warriors have shown more effort, increased urgency to figure out a solution here, even to the point Joe Lacob, the Warriors owner, went out and sat face-to-face with Jonathan Kuminga in the last month. And Joe Lacob essentially asked Kuminga, do you want to be here? Do you want to be with the Warriors? And Kuminga flipped that really and said, do you even want me? And how the Warriors have showed whether they want him or not. They've structured 2 trade-friendly contracts. We know about the 2-year, $45 million offer, standing offer that's been there since July. It includes a team option, but he's been declining that. And so over the last week, I'm told the Warriors offered 3 years, $75 million. That also includes a team option, which to this point, Kuminga has resisted. And so will the 2-year framework, if Kuminga wants a shorter-term deal, will they be able to improve that 2-year deal? Will it get to a point where Kuminga takes it? I spoke to a source this morning that said this is essentially a situation where both sides know that likely the best case scenario is a divorce eventually. But in the short term, it might be best for both sides to stay together for the kids, and the kids being a betterment for the team, allowing both sides to get an opportunity to see, can we figure this out? Can this work at least this upcoming season? And if not, it's a tradable contract that they can trade, and eventually he hits unrestricted free agency next offseason.
All right, well, let me ask you this. How much of this stalemate threatens the Warriors' ability to maximize Steph Curry here in his final years of contention?
The Warriors need to get Jonathan Kuminga on a trade-friendly contract, a deal that also is a higher number than, obviously, the qualifying offer. Because if Jonathan Kuminga goes and signs that qualifying offer, 1 year, $8 million, that has a no-trade clause built in, that significantly impacts how this team, the Warriors, can build moving forward. It cripples their ability in a lot of ways to move forward with team building. You have a number 7 overall pick that you risk losing for nothing if he signs the qualifying offer. And to that end, the Warriors have had 2 aggressive suitors in Kuminga. That's the Phoenix Suns and the Sacramento Kings. The Kings have been offering a deal somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 years, $63 to $66 million. And their deal has been around Malik Monk and a first-round pick. The Suns, on the other hand, it's been around 4 years, approaching $90 million. That's been Royce O'Neal and second-round draft compensation. Both these teams want Kuminga to come in, start, give him a player option, play significant minutes. The Warriors, of course, reluctant to just guarantee him all of that. And so far, they've been declining all of these trades as well. So as it's been for 3 months, George, it's about who's going to blink first, the Warriors or Jonathan Kuminga. We're going to find out within the next 2 weeks.
Interesting stuff, Shams. As always, thanks for the time, man. Appreciate it. All right, now joining us here in studio, Tim McMahon, along with David Dennis Jr. will join us here as well. So, Tim, I'll start with you. How have the Warriors handled this Kuminga situation, in your opinion?
Awkwardly. I mean, how have they handled Kuminga's entire career? Steve Kerr doesn't want Kuminga. Kuminga doesn't want to play for the Warriors, in part because he knows the coach doesn't want him. Listen, Shams is talking about there's going to be a divorce eventually. Let's stay together for the kids. I've lived that. I lived with my ex-wife for a year after we agreed to divorce for the kids. Let me tell you, it was not fun. There are going to be chemistry issues.
Yeah.
Put it mildly. This is going to be a disaster if they bring back Kuminga. There's SGA. He might as well be HTE, human trade exception. And he's going to be, you think he's going to want to pass the ball? You think he's going to want to play team ball? He's going to want the ball. He's going to want minutes. Steve Kerr doesn't think he fits. I wonder what they think they can get that's better than Malik Monk and a first-round pick.
Tim, were you offered $48 million to stay in that marriage next year? I mean,
no, but it was a financial decision.
Listen to me. There was some big news in this report that Shams and Anthony Slater put out.
Yeah.
Is that the Warriors had increased their offer to 3 years and 77. It's basically $25 million.
But the player option is what he objects to.
Still, in that third year, that's
team option,
$48 million guaranteed compared to $8. So when we've been talking about this all summer long, it's been $8 million qualifying offer or basically $24 million a year. So that's a lot less, okay? 24, it doubled. That's $48 million in guaranteed money that he is willing to leave on the table. Forget about the third year. I know that's a big deal, but that's the same average annual value that Josh Giddey just got in Chicago. I understand that kind of stinks, but $48 million in guaranteed money is not something to walk away from when you're a young player. And I understand how awkward it is.
Absolutely miserable.
Right, and
which he clearly is.
Yeah.
Which he and I look, I know the locker room fits are awkward, etc. But that's why Steve Kerr gets paid a lot of money too, and that's why the veterans on this team get paid a lot of money. And I think the Warriors' stance has always been they don't want to lose him for nothing, understandably. But they did have chances over the years. Alex Caruso was a guy they could have gone and got. Obviously, that would have helped them in the last couple of years. But to me, the fact that the Warriors have increased their offer, they've given him another year of guaranteed money. That's big.
All right, David, what do you think?
Well, first of all, isn't it kind of poetic that this is the final chapter of the two-timeline fiasco of the Golden State Warriors that they tried 5 years ago, essentially? It was never going to work, and now you have a guy who was part of that two-timeline thing, who was really holding up your offseason and can be a real disaster for your season going forward. Look, there's just absolutely no way that Jonathan Kuminga could be a part of that locker room when this season starts. This is a mess of the Warriors making, of a little bit of that Kuminga fault, and this divorce needs to happen pretty much now, because you do not have, I get the Warriors. I understand what the Warriors always want to maximize trade value and don't want to lose this guy for nothing, but you're not losing him for nothing. Moving on from Kuminga allows you, as the Golden State Warriors, to move on with your offseason. You can go and put Al Horford on the team. You can get Melton onto that team, and you do not have to worry about a guy on your roster, in your locker room, who your coach doesn't want there, who doesn't want to be there himself. And it's a toxic situation. It's best for all parties to move on. I know there are financial issues and all that, but if the Warriors want to maximize, truly maximize these last few years of the Stephen Curry era, the first step of that is moving on from Kuminga, cutting your losses, and figuring out what's next.
I also think there is something about getting in the room. And I know the Warriors had been very frustrated throughout the process that they had not talked to Jonathan Kuminga directly. All the communication was going through his agent, whereas other teams like the Kings and the Suns had talked to Jonathan Kuminga personally. And so that was the fact that they got in a room together, that the owner and the general manager, Mike Dunleavy Jr., got in a room and were able to talk to him face to face, I think does help move this thing forward and towards some kind of resolution. Because, David, I'm the opposite. I think he is on the roster when they start the year.
We'll see. This thing is going to be fascinating.
He's been in the room. He's been on the bench. He's been in the locker room. That's been part of the problem. He's been racking up DNPs all last year to the point where this relationship has just gotten so toxic. I just don't see how it even begins to work out.
Yeah, this thing goes way back for sure, but it'll have to come to a head at some point. All right, still to come on NBA Today, Victor Wembanyama is gearing up for year 3. Could the alien do something we've only seen done by Jordan, Hakeem, and Giannis? We'll explain. Plus, speaking of Giannis, he led the Greeks to their first ever basketball medal, but it's what he said afterward that has everyone talking.
I've won the NBA championship, but there's no feeling like representing your national team and representing 12 million people. This is
Germany wins gold at the 2025 Eurobasket Games as they took down Turkey in the championship game. It's Germany's first Eurobasket title since 1993. Here's how they celebrated with the MVP. An early birthday celebration for Dennis Schroeder, who turns 32 today. And what better present than a Eurobasket MVP? He adds to an impressive international resume, winning the 2023 FIBA World Cup before taking Eurobasket this year, winning MVP both times. He also led Germany to the bronze at the 2022 Eurobasket. Ramona, does he have a case for the Hall of Fame?
I think he has a strong case, and I think he will get into the Hall of Fame based on his accomplishments on the international stage. Tim Bontemps said on your Hoop Collective the other day, there's only 6 players who have done a Euro, Dennis Schroeder has done now, Eurobasket MVP and World Cup MVP, and they're all in the Hall of Fame. And so I think Dennis the Menace, get ready for Springfield.
Hey, man, listen, you have that kind of experience and success, you deserve it. So Schroeder took down Turkish star Alperen Şengün in the championship game, who had 28 points in the loss. Tim, what can Şengün take away from this Eurobasket experience?
I think this can boost him and maybe to an All-NBA type of season. He was an All-Star for the first time last season, but it was almost because it was like somebody on the Rockets had to do it. They've got too many wins. Swagger's never been an issue, but he's got more of that than ever. And I think he's also springier than ever. Some of those finishes in Europe were pretty nasty.
Okay, let's go. Let's see. All right, and in the bronze medal game, Giannis and Greece took down Finland to place for the first time since winning the bronze back in 2009. Giannis finished with 30 points and 17 rebounds. He finished second in scoring for the entire tournament with 27 per game. But what shocked people was where he ranked this accomplishment. Let's take a listen to Giannis afterwards.
I've had everything in my life through ups and downs, good or bad. When you're one of the best, players, and I don't talk too much. I like my actions to talk. I like basketball. I don't like being famous. I just like basketball. And sometimes when you don't play well, people talk about you. But this for me, it's almost like a relief because I did it for the country, I did it for myself, I did it for my family, and finally, I did it. This is one of the biggest, probably accomplishments that I've ever accomplished as an athlete. I know I've won an NBA championship, but there's no feeling like representing your national team and representing 12 million people that breathe and live this national team, so this is probably the greatest accomplishment I've accomplished so far in my life.
Whew. All right, so David, welcome back here, David Dennis Jr. Giannis has done a lot of things in his 12-year NBA career. What do you make of what he said about winning the bronze medal being the greatest accomplishment of his life?
First of all, I love this. And this is a reminder of why people love Giannis in the first place. The guy just loves basketball. He loves winning. And this reminds us that this dude doesn't just love winning. He loves winning his way. He loves winning with his friends, with his family, for his country. And this kind of shines a light a little bit to me about why this dude is stuck with Milwaukee for so long. There's been so many opportunities for him to go out and join a super team, maybe go to the Warriors, go to the Rockets this year or something like that and win a bunch of championships. But this dude wants to win with the people he is loyal to. That includes his home country, that includes his family, that includes Milwaukee. Now, will this bear out NBA championship anytime soon? I don't necessarily see that in Milwaukee with him in these next few seasons. But for Giannis, it's just about playing the right way and playing around the people that make him happy. That's bigger than basketball. I just love this clip, and it tells us so much about Giannis.
Tim?
Listen, biggest accomplishment of his career, greatest accomplishment of his career, I'm going to go the 50-piece to close out the NBA Finals. But what you saw there was the raw emotion. That's Giannis stepping right off the floor. I think you also saw Giannis this deep in his career, having been through what he's been through the last few years in particular, realizing just how precious these opportunities to win, to win a trophy, to win a medal, just how precious those are. And he is an extremely loyal dude. That's why he's still in Milwaukee. And look, we've been on Giannis watch for like 7 years now, since his brother Kostas, who, by the way, had a great Eurobasket, was the last pick in the draft by the Dallas Mavericks in the Luka Brunson draft. That's how long teams have been lining up.
I read that in your book or something.
Yeah, there you go. That's how long teams have been lining up, hoping to get a shot at Giannis. If he hasn't left Milwaukee by now, I don't think he's ever leaving. If he's not leaving Milwaukee, it's going to be extremely difficult for Giannis to be in a position to win another championship in the NBA. So, yeah, that was a precious opportunity that he seized yesterday.
Look, it was unlikely for Greece to medal here, just like it is probably unlikely for the Milwaukee Bucks to win another title as currently constructed. But the reason why they won is because things just broke right. I mean, who would have thought they would finish ahead of Serbia or even Slovenia? There's a lot of really good teams in the Eurobasket that the Greeks finished ahead of. And I think the Bucks can do the same thing because they did go all out this summer as best they could. They went and got Myles Turner. I think Kyle Kuzma is going to be better. He had a really rough adjustment coming over there. He couldn't be much worse.
Rough is an understatement.
I mean, he couldn't be much worse,
with faint
right?
praise.
So there's only one way up, and that's up. But I just think this team being together with the pressure of knowing that Giannis is wanting to win and the stakes here, I think he's going to be highly motivated going into the season. And look at this Eastern Conference. If things break right, maybe they don't have to take out the Cavs. Maybe they don't have to take out the Orlando Magic. If things break right, just like they did at this Eurobasket, they could find themselves in a conference final.
I thought the interesting thing was afterwards at the podium, he talked about, like, look, when I win an MVP, my mom is happy, my brother's happy, maybe my agent's happy, but I made 12 million people happy. And I think that's the thing that resonates with him. And you can see it, like the emotion is pouring out of him.
No, there is a different type of feeling that these guys get representing their country.
No doubt.
You know, that's why Luka's going and playing every single year with Slovenia, you know, including this year where, George, you might have been able to crack that Slovenian rotation. He's out there trying to play anyways. But if Giannis wins another trophy in the NBA, it will be MVP.
All right, well, it wasn't all love for Giannis necessarily after Greece won the bronze medal. He might have caught a stray from Alperen Şengün. Here's what he said about Giannis and playing against him in Greece. Giannis is not a great passer. He's an amazing player, but, you know, he's not a great passer. So we just tried to help and jump to close the paint. Giannis responded by saying, check my YouTube clips, by the way. Just letting everybody know. Yeah. Any reaction to that?
Listen, Şengün, you're a good young player. This is a two-time MVP, a finals MVP. You don't need to be nitpicking this guy's game.
All right. In case you were wondering, the Rockets and Bucks will play each other on the way. From NBA training camps opening, meaning year 3 of Victor is right around the corner. Wemby is top 5 in the preseason odds for MVP and number 1 for Defensive Player of the Year. By the way, only Hakeem, Jordan, and Giannis have won both in the same season. So, Tim, what's the biggest question, I guess, facing Wemby and the Spurs?
I think the biggest question going into camp, going into the season, is how exactly is this young guard trio going to fit together, and that's going to be on hold. Unfortunately, Dylan Harper, number 2 overall pick, recently had thumb surgery. He might be ready for the season opener, maybe not. But look, they traded for De'Aaron Fox last year, splash move. They didn't know they were getting Dylan Harper at the time. Fox got his max extension. Stephon Castle coming off a Rookie of the Year campaign. You know, how's Dylan Harper going to fit? I assume Harper will be coming off the bench. 96 minutes in the 2 guard spots. They say all 3 of them are going to play, but again, exactly how is that trio going to fit together and going to fit around Wembanyama is the biggest question for the Spurs going into the season.
Work in progress for sure. We know Victor will be getting help on the floor, but he's also trying to get the Spurs some help off the floor as well. Over the weekend, Wembanyama held tryouts for the new supporters section in San Antonio, a dedicated group of fans that Wemby wanted to bring unmatched energy to all 41 of their home games at Frostbank Center. Wemby had the final say on who made the cut, but I'll let you be the judge on how it all went. All right, here we go.
Let's go!
Wemby P, I like that.
I do like the ice throne. Shout out to Iceman George Gervin back in the day.
Wemby liked that one.
Okay.
Oh, the drums. There we go.
Now, see, I like these guys.
Oh, I love these
Come
guys.
on.
Hey,
These guys are the best.
never go wrong with a cape.
Oh, he got them. He got Victor out playing the bongo. There we go.
All right, so there you go. All right, so we've seen those individuals. We'll see if they move the needle. But right now, let me ask you a question, all right? Who do you think has the best home court advantage in basketball, David? We'll start with you.
I'm going with the Liberty. There's nothing like being in BK, watching that team go, the loudest crowd. Maybe not New York, MSG and the Knicks have something to say, but the wild card here with the Liberty, 3 words, Ellie the Elephant, MVP of all crowd hype stuff that you got going on. I don't know who's under there. Is it Cardi B's and Mary J. Blige? Who knows? Once she gets to twerking and percolating and making the songs, doing all that stuff, there is nothing like being there when you have to face Ellie the Elephant on the other side of the court. It is terrifying for opposing players.
Listen, I have some pretty good eardrums, but even I had to bring earplugs to Oklahoma City several times this season.
Yep.
That crowd is so loud, and when they put the free shirts down on the seats, everybody wears them. The only guy who doesn't wear them is Jimmy, okay? Jimmy Goldstein, he wears whatever Jimmy wears. But it is unbelievable buy-in from that crowd, and
That
it
guy's
is
not wearing a
loud.
t-shirt.
Oh,
Yeah,
should.
He doesn't need one. He doesn't need one. Look, I'm going to rep the ACC. It's Duke. Cameron Crazies for a reason.
Okay.
Okay?
Listen, no, it's not in America. It is in Europe. Look at these crowds. You know, Luka Doncic was asked about the toughest crowd he played in front of before the finals in Boston, and he's talking about Greece. He's talking about Serbia. He's talking about Turkey. So we got to go to Europe if we're going to find the best basketball
I don't
crowds.
disagree with you there.
Hey, listen, I know it gets crazy out there, but speaking of crowds, do you guys know who led straight wins and counting? Well, we'll see. Asia Wilson and company taking the floor here. Another dominant performance by her. They get it inside to Asia. The block there. So nice, you'll see it twice.
I mean, how do you, the control on that block, not fouling, keeping it in bounds, unbelievable.
Now on the offensive end, she shows off the turnaround jumper. That's pure. That's in the second. Third quarter, Ace is up 17. Vegas moves it around. Look at this ball movement. One more time to the corner. Asia,
Swing.
three ball. Bang. Later in the third, Wilson showing off the post moves.
I mean, you just got to make it harder on her.
Little
with
repost.
this. Come on now.
Wilson finished with 29 and 8, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Aces win 102-77. Here's Becky Hammond after the game.
Coach, for you, how do you help your players right now celebrate this streak while still keeping your eyes ahead?
I'm on that ass.
No, I wasn't sure if I should say. No. And then Asia had the reaction I knew right away.
Don't celebrate. I mean, you guys celebrate this more than we do. We guarantee you that.
I mean,
The streak stopped in regular season.
it's 0-0.
It's
It's the first of
0-0.
9 win. So that's how we want to approach it.
So Wilson recorded her 7th career playoff game with at least 20 points, 2 blocks, and 2 steals, breaking a tie with the great Candace Parker for the most in WNBA postseason history. The defending champion New York Liberty starting the playoffs on the road, facing the Mercury in Phoenix. So game 1 here, Stewie and Alyssa. Stewart bangs away here inside, gonna make this tough shot on Sabali.
She made a lot of those tough shots in a very physical game.
That one tied at 65. Final seconds of the fourth. Alyssa Thomas can't get it to fall.
That one was just crushing. The win was right there for them at home, and they couldn't get it done.
We go to overtime. In overtime, still tied at 65. Natasha Cloud, 3-ball.
She went to work in this game. That was the leading scorer here.
A minute later, Stewie on the baseline drive. She gets the basket, but you see there grabbing her knee.
Didn't like how that looked coming down.
Yeah, not a great fall. Does walk off on her own power. Stays on the bench, but in pain. In a minute left in overtime, Liberty up 4. Cloud swings it, finds Phoebish. 3-ball is good.
That was the dagger right there.
5 assists for Cloud. Game high 23 points. Liberty take game 1, 76-69. So you see the record here. They've been dominant with Stewie this season. Without her, not so much. All right, we welcome in Ramona Shelburne here now. So Ramona, George Sedano in for Malika Andrews. Ramona, let's start with Stewie here. What do we know?
Oh, Stewie's getting an MRI today. She's getting some extra evaluation from the Liberty team doctors, and we'll get a sense of where she is after that, although I think they're going to keep this one fairly close to the vest. I mean, you saw she was able to walk up on her own power. She was sitting on the bench. She didn't go immediately anywhere, but you never like to see your best player down on the ground like that, and we'll see what the results of that testing are. But right now, today, getting some imaging done.
Well, and they are playing every other day, so it'll be interesting to see if for some reason she does have to miss time, how that affects what is already going to be a tightly contested series.
That's why it was so huge for the Liberty to get that win on the road in Game 1. You got till Wednesday, but you're not going home down. This is a 3-game series, so the fact that you got that Game 1, it does give her some extra.
News out of the W, Golden State Valkyries guard Veronica Burton was named the 2025 Kia WNBA Most Improved Player. Received 68 of the 72 votes. In her first season with Golden State, Burton posted career highs across the board, becoming the first player in WNBA history to boost her numbers by at least 5 points, 2 boards, and 2 assists per game from one season to another. Game 1 between the Valkyries and the top-seeded Lynx started strong for Golden State. They had a 10-point lead early, but Minnesota showed why. They're the league's #1 team the rest of the way. You'll see here, Nafisa Collier and the Lynx. Lynx passing the perimeter. Collier three-pointer is good. Collier with 20.6 boards. Lynx up 16. Earlier in the fourth, Jessica Shepard blocked by Ileana Rupert, but Rupert is called for the foul. Valkyries head coach Natalie Nakase is irate. Gets called for a tee. Lynx win 101-72, take a 1-0 series lead. Dream hosting the Fever. Game 1. There's Caitlin Clark. Obviously not playing today. So Gray drives to the paint, hits the jumper. 20.6 boards, 4 assists, Dream up 4. Gray finds Ryan Howard here on the wing.
Boy, those two really had it going in this game.
Howard had 26 and 2. Dream win 80-68, take a 1-0 lead in their series. Good news for fans of the Lynx, Aces, and Dream and Liberty. Teams that have won Game 1 of a best of 3 have gone on to win the series 71% of the time in WNBA history. For more on the weekend's action, here's our WNBA countdown team of Elle, Andrea, and Chanae.
I appreciate you, NBA Today. Welcome into our WNBA studios here in Bristol alongside Chanae Gumake and Andrea Carter. I'm Elle Donkey. We had 2 routes and an overtime thriller. We're going to hand out some game balls. And let's start with the Liberty and Mercury, the closest game. You guys said pregame this had the potential to be the best matchup in the first round. Who are you giving your game balls to?
Game ball, for me, goes to Natasha Cloud. Okay. Natasha Cloud came out for the New York Liberty on the road where she used to play. Remember, she was in Phoenix last season, so she's familiar with that arena, but she set the tone early with her physicality on both ends of the floor, her drive to the basket, she knocked down threes. I thought her energy and the edge that she played with made the difference for New York. She was 5 of 5 from the field in the first half, perfect from the floor, but throughout the entire game, she finished with, 23 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, a full stat line for Natasha Cloud.
So honorable mention, maybe a high five.
Yeah, okay.
Is going to go to JJ, Jonquel Jones. I know on the stat sheet you might be like, 7 points, 12 rebounds. The 12 rebounds mattered most, but also it was just her defense. Defensively, she was so good, especially in the first quarter, in particular, limiting Alyssa Thomas, who she knows very well, played 6 years with her in Connecticut. That defensive job was very important for them to sort of slow them down, and I do believe that she's going to be the X factor moving forward, knowing that we don't know Stewie's stat.
Well, exactly. We definitely saw Breanna Stewart. It looked like she hurt her knee, not the knee that saw her miss time this season, as LaChina Robinson, our colleague, noted. However, we all just started yelling at the prospect that she could potentially be hurt.
Yeah, it's devastating. I mean, we certainly hope that she's okay. We don't know anything right now, but Breanna Stewart, 18 points on 7 of 14 from the field. Also, if you think about it from Phoenix's perspective, Satu Sabally had that matchup a lot. And Satu struggled on the offensive end, and you wonder if it's because she was working so hard on the defensive end, having to guard Breanna Stewart. She's an MVP, she's a champion, she's an Olympian. Stewie there's so many things she does for this team. You want her in the playoffs, you need her in the playoffs.
And oftentimes we said that the rich got richer in getting Emma Miesemann, having that luxury of that additional body in the front court who happens to be a finals MVP and a champion, truly is going to help them as they navigate this.
At the time of us recording this, again, we don't have an update yet on when Stewie will be available, how hurt she is. But let's talk about a Minnesota team that set a franchise record for biggest and largest win in postseason history. Who gets your game ball in their game over the Valkyries?
Normally, I would say Nafisa Collier because she had a quiet 20 points in like 26 minutes. But I actually want to give it to Kayla McBride, K-Mac, because she made some tough buckets, particularly from 3. She made 3 threes on the night. She just was efficient, effective, and that veteran presence that really helps them.
Yeah, I'm going to give credit to Natisha Heidemann as well, because when you have someone that can come in and score 18 points off of the bench, that's more than the Golden State Valkyries had from their entire bench, right? So Natisha Heidemann coming in, you obviously mentioned Fee, but for Minnesota as a whole, their defense, when they turned up their defense, Golden State Valkyries started having problems.
They did. Natisha Heidemann, a plus 32, plus minus, one of the best we've ever seen. for the Lynx in franchise postseason history. All right, and our final game that we're going to recap here, the Atlanta Dream get their first postseason win since 2018.
Wow.
They, of course, take down the Fever. Who's getting your game ball on that one?
This was tough because they both showed up in Cowboy Carter outfits. That is Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray, but I'm actually going to give it to Ryan Howard. They both had 20 points. Really, they should both get the game ball. But Ryan Howard got popped in the mouth. She had a split lip. She had to go back into the locker room. That was in the first half. Came back in the second half and still balled out, put on a show. But both of them, 20 points. They did their thing.
So you guys, on NBA Today, Kendrick Perkins always has this, phrase, you have to be a star in your role.
Yeah.
And they have someone that is truly a star in their role. Honorable mention, Naz Hillman, 16 points, 5 for 7 from the field, AP, 6th player of the year, just received that award. To me, they have depth in a way that is really helping them at this moment.
So what you're saying for Naz, the world is hers. That she was Illmatic.
She was Illmatic.
Illmatic.
Yeah.
If she ruled the
We
world,
actually got that one.
Imagine that. You got that reference? We love that.
Yeah, we did good.
It's called growth and maturity here from the set in Bristol. Let's get it back to